Hello, I'm Steve. You may know me as CodeSmile. I'm a game engineer and a code composer, and I've been doing that for about 3 decades. And I'm here to improve your work-smile balance. And to that end, and to my end, I rewrote the entire asset database, or I wrapped it. And that is CodeSmile Asset Database. Why? Because Unity is about 20 years old now. So happy birthday to that. But 20 years, that means the public static asset database, and you can take static literally here. It's not going to change, and it's a CRUD. It's 100 methods, plus minus one. 13 categories, like loosely related dependencies, status queries, file operations, asset bundles, sub-assets, version control, blah, 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 blah. And you know how verbose it is, right? And there's like, get us the password from asset bundle, and that's impossible, text matter, text blah. Okay. And it's also very clear. Yeah. Valid folder. Everyone knows what a valid folder is. And if it isn't, you validate that move asset, right? So, but really what I'm about is like risks and side effects. And there are so many of them. Let me walk you through a simple situation that everyone has been through that. I mean, everyone who's been using the asset database once at least. So let's take that path, and you want to load or create an asset at that path. And you already got it figured out, so you can go home now and have a sleep, right? So simple as that is, loading that asset. If it's null, you create the instance, bam. But hold that thought. This isn't everything. So you have the designer incoming. He's running your script. And he says, it's not working. Why is it not working? I don't know. Go fix it. So that's up to you now. And like, why is that simple code not working? Right. So you go through the book, every trick in the book. You do dirty stuff and you save everything and you refresh the entire asset database, no matter how many assets are in that project. Could be tens of thousands of sorry, many assets. Okay, so you debug this and that, and like blows your mind, right? And then you have a revelation. I mean, you walk over to the designer and show me how it's not working. Ah, I get it. You don't have those folders, right? And that's what is valid folder is for. And create folder only creates the last folder in that path. So it's getting very complicated to make all those strings and so on. So you just hard code that, and it's just those two folders, and never mind. You'll come back to it at a later time, right? So now you can go home, take a sleep. But there's this lingering question. Is there all there is to it? And as you walk in the morning, there's this gaping hole here. And there's also the designer. It's still not working. So why wouldn't it work? No, like, I can tell you that. Loading an asset that returns null. It could be that the asset doesn't exist, but it could also be that the asset has been created, just not imported yet. So you need to tag that as well. So even a simple script gets very complicated, or the user suffers, right? So case in point, January 2024, I bought a very popular game creation asset from the store, installed it in the LTS version 2022.3, new project, really empty, install that asset, and it fails big time. Why? Because there was a script in there that creates the folders for me, except it also creates a file name as a folder, and then subsequently it can't create the asset. Like, okay, that's partially also, not tested, right? But that's the kind of thing that happens, and it ends up going to your users, to your team, and whatnot. So if only it were that simple, right? Asset file, loader create, speaks to you. You have a generic, gives you back that asset that you created, path, sure. And then you have a lambda that's being called when the asset doesn't exist or hasn't been imported. When it doesn't exist, yeah. The import check is in there, right? And yeah, in the lambda, you just create the instance and then loader create does the rest. And you don't need to worry about this anymore. And it's getting even better. Like loading an asset that's what it is. That's what it should be. Like, you pass in that string and you create an asset instance, and that has your asset loaded in there. And it also fixes your absolute path, and including the backslashes that wouldn't work on your Linux build machine. I mean, it would break there, right? It would even break on someone else's system, for sure. But let's not get into the fact that AssetDatabase doesn't even take absolute paths. Anyhow, moving on. Asset, you have an instance. You can call instance methods on it. Add a label, do anything, save, delete, whatnot. You also get the properties. You can assign an importer just by assigning the type to active importer property. Vice versa, you get stuff from those properties, asset path, the GUID, and whatnot, status, all of that. And of course, you can get the main object, which you can type, or just get the basic Unity engine object, whatever. So all of that is available now, and it's CodeSmile Asset Database. It's on the Unity Asset Store. And yes, I'll gladly take your money, but hold that thought. It's also open source. It's a copyleft license, sure, so do the right thing. I trust you to do the right thing. But I really want you to go in there and check it out. It's really, you gotta have this, right? So especially if you have a team working on editor scripts, those are the foundation of your editor tooling, right? And you don't want this to break. So yeah, okay, for the love of yeah, you know, there's so many things that can go wrong here, and I'm pretty sure I fixed all of them. Yeah, and if not, I'm here. I'll go through you. I go with you through them and help you fix them. Right. So that's what support means. But anyway, there's lots of test cases, and I made sure that all the things that are out there that are being done to this are fixed. So would you kindly, please, you know this thing, right? Would you kindly like the video, subscribe, start a GitHub repository, please, and also, yeah, tell your friends, your coworkers, your boss, your CTO, tell them about it, because we need a better asset database. And Unity is not going to fix that, right? Because, yeah, understandable reasons, right? So many scripts written against it. Like those, create an asset, and because it's just being created, you do save all of the unsaved assets, all of them. And then you refresh the entire asset database. You know what that means, right? Saving all assets. This does not sound like a cheap operation. Refreshing the entire asset database. You know, this method should be called import all externally modified assets under your assets tree, scanning the entire assets tree, each and every file, and then also unloading unused resources. Which means all the cached files that were in your editor and are currently not in use, but are frequently being used, those are wiped from memory, need to be reloaded again. So yeah, you can see how that affects performance. Plus, refresh also runs these importer scripts. Oh God, and people come and complain that Unity's gotten slower over the years. No, you're just writing crappy editor scripts, and your projects are getting bigger, so you feel the effect a lot more. Like, yeah, you can imagine it. Like, okay, I should stop here. This is a pet peeve of mine. So with that said, I sent you a THX and wish you cleaner code.